things or top five things that
Actually,
Indians can do to integrate well with American culture, right? So bring that to
Don't
the
microwave curry.
the
third.
second one is the hygiene.
I mean, India is a cultural pot with so many people from different backgrounds. People talking on the show are like the ideal people or anything. We've also done so many things in ignorance, and just have a perception of that is the first step. Like I perceive few things, and if I don't perceive it, I don't know.
More Indians are getting associated with some of the non-profits. And they believe in it, associate, and also they believe in the cause. And those are the majority of the events which we see now recently, since last 10 years. Everyone believes in one cause, and they will project their cause, fundraising activities, their events, and then they connect back to the roots, back to India. So both the ways, with the cultural programs and with all the fundraising and everything.
We want to talk about some of the stereotypes, and we have to try to bust some of the stereotypical opinions of what we have. Like my stereotypical opinion of people like Americans here is that they're very receptive and respectful in front of us for sure. They are not going to put us down or anything. I mean, we are human. It's normal human psychology to
Yeah.
kind of put people down, but they do it behind the back. Same in contrast with what we have in Hyderabad. People could put you down in front of your face with
Yes.
no fear of regret or guilt. So when I see that, some of the stereotypes, like what are the typical stereotypes of Indians? Like what do people really think of Indians? That's what I wanted to
Here
uh,
from
hear
yeah.
from Kenny.
Oh man.
Nothing against,
Yeah, okay.
Nothing
Listen.
against
So
Indians, also big
yeah,
nothing
majority of them.
personal against you
the
either.
stereotypes can be good or bad, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I would. I mean, only one I really know is like doctors.
So you think Indians means doc? He's probably a doctor.
Yeah, like a lot of them are
Yeah.
medical field in there. Like my foot doctor, she was Indian. She was I don't know. I don't know if there's a name for it if you're first generation American, but her parents were from India. So I think like that's just the only stereotype I really know in here. It's like, hey, they're all doctors. They're all
They're
in the
all
medical
doctors,
Right.
field or something
which
like
is a good
that.
stereotype.
I mean,
Good stereotype.
it's better than being the
Absolutely.
janitor. So
Yeah.
Or a
So
landscaper. Yeah.
what's one bad stereotype?
I don't know if I really haven't heard one, to be honest.
I mean, one of the bad stereotype that I can say that, oh, they have the curry smell. Because when we were running Makudus, we had we were making paneer pizza, and that pizza was very, very popular. For some reason, people like to taste that paneer. But when you have that curry smell, sometimes the day that we made the curry sauce, it just had that curry smell, and
Catch.
people don't like it, right? Some people don't care for it. Some people are neutral. Some people hate it.
Yeah.
So they actually put a bad review on Makudu saying this place is owned by Indians and it smells like
Yes.
curry. And then other people started like responding, and it kind of has become kind of viral in a negative way, saying it smells like that. And so people smelling like curry, I think
Well,
that's a
you're
stereotype.
right. See, a lot of non-Indians, right? Though we Indians, we feel the curry smell is very delish, or there's like biryani smell or tikka smell or anything. But for non-Indians, it is like some of them which were in the corporate world where I worked. Some of my friends used to say, "Man, this smells like a burnt hair." So
Oh,
they used to say that, but they may not say it very open because
openly.
it is their nature. They keep it to themselves. They won't portray it well. But we have to be very mindful of all the people, where we work. I think the same incident, right? What you said about the charisma, used to happen, and it still happens in the corporate world, wherever we work in the IT. So what happens is people carry their lunch boxes, like biryani or some
Mm.
curries, right? What they do, they will go and microwave that box on the floor, on the kitchen, not in the kitchen floor, somewhere in the break room. And then you warm it up and you bring that box and eat it in your cube.
Mm.
When they start eating, the whole floor gets a odor.
you curry bomb them.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone says, "Whoa, what is the smell?" It
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're appreciating you. They
They're
there's
being
some
nice
different.
about
Yeah,
it and,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
But it is not
offering
a
their
yeah,
protest,
it's not
but they're saying, what
right.
is this, man?
So I don't have a sense of smell, so maybe that's why it's never bothered me over here. But I can see that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people. I used to work in construction, commercial construction, and anytime we had paint, we would bring in a popcorn machine. Why? Because the popcorn would just resonate with the smell, and people that saw us painting would think, "Oh, there's fumes." So smell in an office building resonates just all over,
Hmm.
and some people love it, some people hate it, and some people
Exactly.
use it as an excuse to go home and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Exactly.
yeah,
It is not right.
And you come into US and you fall into the lap of luxury wherein you're not judged based on how you look on your face.
Correct.
But it's very important that we have to respect
Correct.
the
To be cognizant of
cognizant
surrounding.
of the expectations
Yeah.
of people.
Correct.
Because from being from Hyderabad, I expect people from the north to be like Hyderabadi. People from the Andhra coming to Hyderabad to be like a Hyderabadi.
Yeah.
I expect them to be like that.
Yeah.
So the same expectation stays here, wherein if Americans are being respectful,
yeah,
we have to be extra more cognizant
Exactly.
of what they're expecting, and Indians have to go the
Correct.
extra mile to make sure that they blend in.
Yeah.
Don't you agree with
I
that?
100%. It is the same. When you're in the Rome, you behave like Romans do. And when you're here, there is one good thing what I always want to remind myself and want to tell others also, all my friends. Like one of the best thing what you learn from non-Indians, from Americans is whenever on the Sunday or any of the weekdays, when they go for prayer, when they go for the church or anywhere, right, they dress up very well.
Mm-hmm.
They believe that there is a supreme existence in that church, and they believe in that, and they dress up well and they go.
Mm-hmm.
That, hygiene or whatever you say, right? Ethic. Whereas majority of the Indians, not majority, at least okay, minority of the Indians, they come in shorts. Sometimes people come in as in sweatpants or is in pajamas, as if they are coming in
why?
to have some food. Why? Because they were told by their parents that go to the temple. You have to do this temple. But the thing is, one of the things which is missing by the new Indians or Indians is they don't trust or they don't believe that there is some Almighty, some whomever you believe, right? If you're visiting there, His presence will be there. It means if you're visiting any elder, like if I'm coming to Kiran, I have to be respectful about his position or his business or
Mhm.
his podcast. I should not be like I don't care, I come in my pajamas means I am basically disrespecting the person where you're going to.
Okay.
So that is one big thing, I always feel we should learn.
So just talking about some etiquettes, we have the luxury to be best of the both worlds. We really have to. We're in the best position to be best of both worlds. Okay, what is good from India that we can learn and bring it here, and what is good from local land here that we learn and implement. So the good from India is there is not as much expectations on how you dress because when you look at the Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy was never big on uh, either money or any accomplishments with regarding to how much you own or anything like that. They are more big on relationships, like family relationships, big on spiritual
Mhm.
ends. And money is just part of it. So when going to temple, people can come in different ways.
Mhm.
Like
Correct.
some people
So it's not superficial.
Yeah.
it's not required. Like even in India, when you go to temples, some
Yeah.
people dress up well, some people don't.
Oh,
And now what I'm hearing, Satish, and I have observed it personally, wherein it is in overgear, wherein people come, they go to the gym and then they come to the place of worship,
exactly.
and you when you see them, you clearly can know that they are coming from a gym, and
Yeah.
then they're at the temple,
Yeah.
which is a very
Very. And
important
the
place.
kids, let us say, if I am going there with my family, kids are they look or act as they have been dragged into the temple. Instead of doing that, try to educate the children, what is the importance. If you are going to visit someone whom you believe he is going to be there, then you, set the expectation, dress well, or do something, you be nice, be, I mean, so that way, that's what, when I used to go to ISKCON, temple, one of the Maharaj said, when you are coming here, you are coming to see the Supreme Personality, Krishna here. You're not coming to see the president of the temple.
Yeah.
You're not coming here to socialize. You're coming here to take his blessings. When you're coming here to take the blessings, do the right way.
So
Pay the obeisance.
I'm curious, and I'm not religious at all, but churches out here in American Christianity and stuff like that, the churches are like a support network in almost a status way too, where you want to show like my business is thriving, I donated more, or you want to meet more people for business purposes in there. Sometimes that's a very business intention.
It is there.
Okay, so
I
temple's
mean,
the same thing.
it
Like
is.
people
It
go there
is
like I've got a purpose
social,
bigger than
because see, it is also social connection, right? You do whatever is supposed to be done, and then if Kiran is there, then we got an opportunity to talk to Kiran and say, "Hey, how is the industry going? What is the real estate saying?
yeah,
how is the loan? Because there I have a connect.
yeah,
She can give me the feedback right there itself.
yeah.
There's no filter.
Okay.
See, the reason people don't dress in India to go to religious places is it's not a requirement back home. But here, what I'm hearing is since you are coming there to pray to the Supreme Lord, since you have the resources, opportunity, and a way to come there,
And believe.
and belief
Yeah.
system, because nobody is really forcing you to come from the
Exactly.
gym to the temple.
Correct.
You'd
Exactly.
rather
Yeah.
take a break, go home, change, because you
Yeah.
have access to resources here. In
Yeah.
India, it's a big problem. You
Correct.
get off the bus and
Yeah.
you can't go home and come back. Here, the car is in your
Yeah.
hand, and then you can come. So that's a tip for
Yeah.
Indians. Okay, let's
You know,
talk about hygiene.
yeah.
Especially in Arizona where it's hot.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you. See,
yes.
this hygiene, thank you, you pointed this. I've seen a lot of my friends also, right? Now we have those sweat absorbing active shirts.
Yeah.
People wear it it is fancy. They look good from Costco or Sam's Club. You wear it, and you wear the second time again. And as yourself, you may not have the odor. You don't smell it anything. But as a recipient of your aroma, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel hygiene. It smells very bad.
I would say it's very important, especially more important. It's important for anybody to be hygienic.
Yeah.
It's important for anybody to make sure that they smell good, right? But it's even more important for an immigrant
Right.
to be there because we have to go the extra mile to integrate with the society.
Correct.
So if an Indian always smells like that, so the chances of people around them, be it Americans, be it Chinese, they'll jump to the conclusion that all Indians smell
Smell
bad.
bad.
So
Right.
that's why it's all the more important for immigrants to go the extra mile. That's the reason I go back to my Hyderabad mentality, wherein if I see a Bihari guy behaving in such way, immediately I think all Biharis are like that. So they did not have exposure, and most of us are humans. We don't have as much exposure. So that's the
Yeah,
point.
it is.
Everybody should be hygienic,
Yeah,
but Indians should be extra
exactly.
hygienic.
It costs $2 to buy a deodorant. So
That's
that
a
solves
good
the
point.
purpose here.
That's a good point. I remember one time. This really happened at Intel. Uh, one of the techs, like we used to work on the manufacturing facility, the techs. So we used to wear the bunny suit when we go into the Intel manufacturing
Yeah.
facility. And then as soon as you come out, you have to take the bunny suit and hang it. Some of them were like reusable bunny suits, especially the ones that engineers wore. So the guys asked me, uh, why don't Indians shave under the armpit? He asked me that simple question. I said, who told you? Did you check all the armpits of Indians? I asked him.
He only got through 900 million. Not all of them.
There are billion people. Hygiene is different based on where you're
Yeah,
grown up and
exactly.
all that. So not everybody can generalize. So the topics that we are talking about, we are not generalizing that all Indians are like that, but
Correct.
we are especially instructing or providing guidance to the people wherein nobody is telling them. Like nobody is going to tell the guy who is coming from the gym to the temple wearing a track pant that you can't do that, or it's not a courtesy come to the temple like that, or it's not a courtesy to heat up the food and eat there, right? Like
Well, and it's
you're being the
interesting.
dad and I'm being the mom here.
It's interesting because you said early on that Indians are very comfortable being direct, face to face, say what they have to.
Mhm.
Whereas like Americans, or at least in America, people will say it nicely and then they'll
Yeah,
say something was
Yes.
bad.
that's
So then why don't people come out and say like, "When you smell, go do this before you come back to temple"? Like,
Yes.
why
yeah.
don't why
So
does
Well,
that happen?
it's like this, right? First is you have an excellent point. The subtlety and the respect that Americans are saying stuff like, oh, it smells different here or something like that. Indians should be able to absorb that subtlety and take it as I shouldn't do it again,
yeah,
right? That we are missing. Reason we don't correct our peers is because we don't want to look bad. It's a normal human psychology. I don't
yeah,
want somebody to think I'm arrogant. Like people who are watching this episode might think I'm arrogant because I'm preaching something and people don't want to be preached. I don't want to preach
yeah.
somebody and then have him think that I'm a preacher or I'm just bossing him around. That's the reason
Right,
we don't preach in front. That's why I mean
Okay.
Satish, like
right.
the dad of our community, he's
Mhm.
going to preach,
Yeah,
and it doesn't mean like we don't follow. We might also fail sometime, but somebody
yeah,
has to step in and preach. Like that preacher platform is what we are trying
Yeah.
to make here.
So you'd be making more general statements.
yeah.
Right.
More
Very
general.
general statements. It doesn't mean everybody is like that.
Right.
Well, I'm intrigued because Indians are very distinct bodies, right? And then you got like Middle Easterns, you got the Anglo side, you got African side, and all of them react to climates differently. So part of it could also be like, do Indians just naturally sweat more? Or is the Arizona climate? Like, is this a problem only in Arizona? Is it a problem in California where it's
No,
cooler?
everywhere.
It's
Everywhere in
everywhere.
India?
Yeah,
Everywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Because I've traveled quite a bit
yeah,
and I've met people. Like as soon as, even though I'm Indian, I can just smell curry when
yeah,
I meet somebody, and it's like as soon as you hug them, you can see the
yeah,
smell.
Okay.
yeah.
There's not a clone called Curry out there. They don't throw you on
No,
there before.
tandoori
No
curry.
color can bust the Indian smell. Uh, During my time when I was an active buyer agent, wherein we were showing a lot of properties, I had this happen multiple times, like maybe more than 6, 7 times. So that's why it bothered me a lot. When families come to see the home, right? The sellers are letting you come into their house and they're living there. So the amount of respect that you as a buyer has to give to the contents of that home should be like 10x
Mhm.
than what you treat your
Right.
home.
Yeah,
Let's say if there is a microphone like this, if I treat it in a way in my home, the visitor's home, I have to be like 10x careful because you are visiting
correct.
it. This episode happened wherein the young kids, the parents were busy seeing the home. The young kids went on to the bed and they started jumping on it.
Yeah,
And the kids were jumping, and I could hear it as a real estate agent. And then I corrected the
right.
kids, but the parents were ignorant of the fact that kids were jumping.
Mm.
So as soon as I started correcting them, then they came to their rescue and then they corrected it. So what is the ideal way that needs to happen? The ideal way needs to happen is kids are kids. You have to take some level of responsibility
Yes.
on mentoring and giving them expectations.
Yeah,
Okay, we are going to now go to this home. You have to be respectful. You can't touch anything. You can't break anything. Another time, they broke something. Like it was right in the drawing room.
mm,
They just kind of messed it up and it immediately broke. And the dad said, I'll pay for it. And the seller said, there is no amount of money you can give me, fix it.
Mm.
It was
yeah,
so powerful.
yeah.
That's the vulnerability when you sell your house. You're letting strangers in at that point, and
At that
you
point,
take that
but
risk, right? And
still, I mean, what he was portraying is like, we should be very, like, mindful of the premises wherever you step in, wherever you go, and, like, treat it as it is,
yeah.
like, very, like, I mean,
No, but my question would be on that one. I'm assuming it was an Indian family.
Hmm.
Is Are there other racist families? Are there other race families that do the same thing? I gotta imagine I have a 1 year or a 6 month old. If he's 4 or 5 years old, he's white. He could probably be doing the exact same thing. I could be as a parent so exhausted doing the same thing. So I'm curious, like, are you just putting harsher treatment on him because you're like, you gotta fit this, you gotta make sure we look good, or is it like does everybody do that in general?
I mean, right? So there is so many cultural
yeah,
stuff that we can talk, but we've had very good conversation. We had a few things. I don't want the people listening to it think that, okay, people talking on the show are like the ideal people or anything. We've also done so many things in ignorance. And just have a perception of that is the first step. Like I perceive few things, and if I don't perceive it, I don't know. And
Exactly.
somebody, I should be open for perception. So if you have any feedback on this, please let us know, and we'll be happy to press it in the next episode.